What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. Now that we've entered the final stretch leading up to Overwatch 2, I wanted to do a video today talking a bit about my honest thoughts on Overwatch 2 at this point. Over the past week or so, Blizzard has released an immense amount of information on Overwatch 2, from a new hero reveal to more information about the Battle Pass structure, and needless to say, all these announcements have resulted in a pretty fair mix of both hype and criticism. And while I've already done a video expressing some of my concerns regarding the latest information we got on Overwatch 2, I wanted to do a proper video where I just focus on my overall thoughts about the sequel at this point. And to summarize my overall thoughts real quickly here at the beginning, yes, I am still very hyped, but it is a bit more complicated than that. So to start off this video, I would like to just talk about some of the things which I am genuinely excited for. The first of which is, obviously, the new heroes. Now, I think it's pretty hard to look at new hero additions as being anything other than a good thing. Heroes are the core of Overwatch. They're the reason basically everybody plays this game. And with each new hero that gets added to the game, it introduces new mechanics and playstyles for players to enjoy. And that's not to say that some heroes haven't been problematic in their implementation, and that certain heroes are definitely stronger than others, but even considering controversial heroes like Brigitte, I think the game is genuinely better off with them in it than not. I realize there may be quite a few people out there who disagree with that statement, but I would rather have a broken Brigitte in the game than no new hero at all. But stopping myself there so I don't spiral off onto a massive tangent that could easily be its own video, let's just take a look at the 3 new heroes that'll be coming in Overwatch 2, being Sojourn, Junker Queen, and Kiriko. All 3 of these heroes look awesome, and 2 of them we at the very least know feel awesome to play, being Sojourn and Junker Queen, since we've already gotten to actually play them in the Overwatch 2 betas. And while I do have some concerns about Junker Queen's balance specifically, like all hero introductions, there's gonna be a fair bit of tweaking and balance adjustment that goes on as they properly get integrated into the game. So in the long run, I think Junker Queen is easily gonna be a phenomenal hero addition, even if she's a bit overbearing right out of the gate. And I'm sure this will apply to Kiriko as well. Just looking at her kit, she looks like she has a rather bloated set of abilities to say the least, but it's not anything that I think Blizzard can't adequately balance into the game to make her fun to play as and against and feel like a natural fit on the roster. Maybe it'll take a bit of time for them to actually balance it right, but it'll happen eventually, and once we reach that point, it'll be awesome having her in game. And all these same sentiments I have about heroes can honestly be extended to other content additions as well, most notably being new map additions. We will be getting 6 new maps with the launch of Overwatch 2, and all of them seem pretty great. I've really enjoyed playing on 5 out of these 6 that were available in the previous betas, and especially considering the new push game mode that's being introduced on some of them as well, that's just another exciting new thing for us to get to play. Push is a fun game mode, it's a nice fresh take on the Overwatch formula, and I'm genuinely excited to get to play more of it in the future. But moving on from purely just gameplay aspects, we also have the new skins and cosmetics. So far, Blizzard has shown off a handful of new phenomenal looking legendary skins we'll be getting in the first season of Overwatch 2, along with a decent number of other cosmetic items that'll be accompanying them. But honestly, I think the true star of the show in the cosmetic department is the brand new Mythic Skins. Mythic Skins are an amazing idea, and what we've seen thus far of their execution with the Cyber Demon Genji skin, it looks like they are going to be top tier. The visuals and animations for this Genji Mythic skin just look so dang good that honestly it's gotten me incredibly excited, not only for this skin itself, but also excited to see what other new Mythic skins we end up getting later down the line. I'm sure some heroes will be favored over others in terms of who actually ends up getting these Mythic skins, but nonetheless, if this first Genji Cyber Demon skin is anything to go by, I think we're gonna have some phenomenal Mythic skins to look forward to in future seasons. Plus, on top of that, the fact that this Mythic skin is part of the premium battle pass, which only costs $10 US, genuinely seems like a really great deal. Don't get me wrong, I have plenty of criticisms for the Overwatch 2 monetization structure, which I will be getting to later in this video, but if there's one thing which, at least based off the information we have thus far, seems like an incredibly great deal, it's the fact that you can unlock this phenomenal Mythic skin simply through playing the premium battle pass. Other games that have skins like this might charge you more than $100 to unlock it, or at the very least buy it outright. So based off of what we know thus far about the implementation of Mythic skins into the battle pass in Overwatch 2, I gotta give it to Blizzard. I think this was a great move and great execution on their part. Again, we'll have to see whether there are in fact some strings attached some way or another once we actually get to play Overwatch 2 in the first season, but for the time being, I am incredibly excited for this upcoming Genji Mythic skin, and really hyped to see what other ones end up coming later down the line. And the last major thing I would like to focus on that has me hyped for Overwatch 2 is new story and new cinematics. We've already gotten the reveal of the Junker Queen cinematic earlier this summer, and we know that both Sojourn and Kiriko have upcoming animated shorts as well, which, for all I know, have maybe even already been released by the time you're watching this video. But considering that we haven't seen an Overwatch animated short since the 0 Hour cinematic back at BlizzCon 2019, I'm really hyped to finally get some of this more animated, story-focused content. This sort of stuff is really fun, and even if it's mainly just a marketing aspect for the game itself, that doesn't make them any less appealing. I'm really hoping we continue to see more comics and other story content as well alongside these animated shorts start to get revealed, now that Overwatch is really starting to pick up steam as a franchise again, and all of that's only really happening because of the transition to Overwatch 2. Now, having covered all the things that got me super hyped for the sequel, now let's move on to some of the less hype-inducing elements, should I say. Starting off with some neutral things that I don't necessarily love, but I also don't necessarily hate, the first of which is the transition to 5v5. Now, this is a change which I've been skeptical of basically since they first announced it. And even after having played both the Overwatch 2 betas, which had the 5v5 format, I'm still unsure what exactly to think about it. Sure, it's fun getting to play a 5v5 version of Overwatch, which previously had always been 6v6, but it's hard to tell how much of me having fun playing 5v5 really came from it being 5v5 specifically, as opposed to it simply being a fresh new format that was accompanied by exciting new maps and heroes. This is one aspect which I really think only time will tell when it comes to whether or not 6v6 or 5v5 is better or worse or simply different, but even though I had fun playing 5v5, I'm not convinced yet that it's going to be better than 6v6. Specifically, the one thing which still has me skeptical about it is the fact that there's only going to be one tank hero per team instead of two, which I realize solves a ton of balance issues like double barrier and all that, but honestly, there was just so much fun to be had with different tank synergies in Overwatch 1, and having heroes like Reinhardt and Zarya working together, D.Va and Winston. It's something which will outright not exist anymore in Overwatch 2, and honestly, I am really gonna miss it. Again, that's not to say that Overwatch overall won't be better with a 5v5 format than 6v6, but specifically when it comes to tank synergies and that duo mechanic, it's something that I am going to miss, and hopefully 5v5 will offer enough excitement elsewhere in order to make up for that. And on that note, now let's move to the things which I'm genuinely concerned about with Overwatch 2. Now, as I mentioned, I already did a whole video sort of talking about this, so I won't go super extensive with me criticizing Blizzard's decisions on this front. But I do think it's important to at least emphasize the things that have me concerned, and which I think are genuinely not great changes that'll be coming with Overwatch 2. And first is the obvious one, which has already been talked about to death, so I will not dwell on it for too long, but that is new heroes being locked in the Battle Pass. Now, admittedly, for me personally, this is pretty much a non-issue. I'm someone who's involved with Overwatch enough that I'm just gonna buy the premium battle pass every season regardless of whether it has a new hero or not. So for me personally, it's really gonna be inconsequential. But that doesn't mean I can't sympathize with the people who aren't going to be spending money on the battle pass every other season and thus won't get instant access to that new hero. And for those of you who fall into that camp, which I realize is a pretty significant number of players, yeah, it genuinely sucks. And to clarify, I'm not saying that it's unfair for Blizzard to lock heroes in the Battle Pass. It simply is what it is, and especially considering that Overwatch is now a free-to-play game, which I will be talking about a bit more in just a minute, I understand why Blizzard is putting heroes in the Battle Pass. They need to incentivize players to spend money somehow, since they aren't spending money on the base game anymore, and especially considering other trends in the gaming sphere in this day and age, yeah, it's not surprising to see core gameplay content like these heroes being locked behind a paywall/grind wall. So while I'm not one of those people who's gonna go so far as to say Blizzard is evil for putting heroes in the battle pass or anything like that, I will say that it is genuinely unfortunate for the player. It's simply a barrier preventing players from having access to gameplay tools and mechanics in the game itself, which from the player's perspective is never a good thing. Again, that's not to say that it isn't justified for Blizzard to be doing it, because again, they need to make money, but it does suck for us players. Just because something's justified doesn't mean that it's good, and I certainly think this is an instance where it really hurts more than it would in any other game because Overwatch 1 had free new hero editions. If we weren't transitioning from a state of Overwatch where new heroes were free to a state of Overwatch where you now have to pay/grind for them, I think people would, at least in this day and age, be open to that being an aspect of the game. It's only because we used to have such a better, more player-friendly version with the free heroes that it really stings to have to make this change and deal with the new format. So without wasting too much time on this point specifically, I'll just say that I understand why Blizzard made this change, and I think they're in a sense justified in doing it, but I certainly don't like it, and it's certainly not a good change for the player base specifically, but I think it's just the reality of the situation we're in. In this day and age, games like Overwatch simply can't afford to keep having free heroes. It's just the reality we live in. But of course, the Battle Pass locked heroes ties in very neatly with the other major concern I have for Overwatch 2 going forward, which is the cosmetics shop and, more broadly speaking, the monetization structure overall. Now, this basically ties back into what I already said about Battle Pass heroes, which is that with the new free-to-play structure, Blizzard has to make money somehow, and of course, that's going to manifest through direct purchases via the cosmetics shop, which, as far as we can tell at this point in time, is going to be far less generous than the previous Overwatch 1 loot box structure. Now admittedly, we don't have any specific details when it comes to the price of getting new skins in the cosmetics shop. For all we know, a brand new legendary skin could cost $1 USD. But realistically speaking, I think we all know that's not going to be how much they cost. Overwatch's cosmetics, and skins in particular, are easily some of the best in the industry, and they are sure as heck gonna be taking advantage of that fact. I think perhaps one of the biggest giveaways that whatever we end up seeing in the Overwatch 2 cosmetic shop isn't going to be something we like seeing is the fact that when Blizzard had their massive blog post detailing all the information about Overwatch 2 and Kiriko and the Battle Pass, they showed off plenty of screenshots of the Battle Pass itself and how that's going to work, but not a single screenshot of the actual in-game shop. I mean, heck, they showed us the frickin' Overwatch coins purchase screen, but not an image of what the shop itself actually looks like? Yeah, that's sure not at all suspect. Certainly plenty of people are curious about what the UI of the shop looks like, if nothing else, but they wouldn't have been able to share a screenshot without also sharing prices. Even if they just had placeholder prices for things, they would need to show off an in-game Overwatch coin amount amount that's going to be spent on any given placeholder, item, or skin, or whatever they have in there in order to represent how the shop's going to appear, and I think drawing any attention to what the realistic prices of these cosmetics is going to end up being would have drawn further criticism. This is a point which I know many people are going to contest, and they're going to say I'm fear-mongering by indicating that Overwatch 2 skins are going to be ludicrously expensive. And I'm not saying they're going to be ludicrously expensive, I'm just saying they're going to be expensive. That's the reality of the situation, that's the reality of a free-to-play model, that's the reality of the day and age we live in, and considering how difficult it looks like it's going to be when it comes to actually earning Overwatch coins in-game for free without spending real money, I am not convinced for a second that unlocking skins and other cosmetic items in Overwatch 2 will be nearly as easy or nearly as cheap as how it was with the loot box system in Overwatch 1. Now, I'm sure a lot of people won't even care about this. As I talked about in my previous video, there are a bunch of people who don't care about skins at all. All they care about is playing a hero, having fun, getting good at the game, and reaching that top 500 rank. But for those of us who do enjoy the cosmetics and like getting all the different skins and outfits for the different heroes, this is going to be a big step down in terms of us being able to enjoy the game, simply because it won't be nearly as feasible anymore. But as with the Battle Pass locked heroes, it is what it is, and it's something that, honestly, is kind of surprising Blizzard didn't shift Overwatch towards sooner. At the end of the day, I think the really big thing that we should just acknowledge, because it seems pretty much to be just the case at this point, is the fact that Overwatch 2, yes, is an exciting relaunching of the game with a whole new structure and format and new looks for all the heroes and everything, but at the end of the day, I really do think Overwatch 2, at least at this point, maybe it didn't always start out this way, but at least at this point, is more than anything Blizzard's way of restructuring the monetization system in order to better fit modern day gaming. This format is simply what works. Free to play, pay for skins, pay for battle passes that you have to play the game in order to grind your way through. It's been working for Apex Legends, it's been working for Fortnite, it's been working for Call of Duty Warzone. Obviously, it's going to work for Overwatch 2. And to add on to that, I'm not saying this change is necessarily a bad thing. If Blizzard is able to make more money off the Overwatch IP and franchise this way, then that just means they can better justify spending money developing new content we all enjoy playing. Things like new maps, new heroes, new story content, new awesome Mythic Skins. If Blizzard themselves are making more money off the game, they themselves have more incentive to make more content that we enjoy. That's just basic business practice. However, that doesn't make it hurt any less for us to transition from what was, in retrospect, an honestly very generous business model with Overwatch 1 into the more typical microtransaction-y, slimy business model we tend to see elsewhere. But at the same time, look at Overwatch 1. What have we been getting for the past 3 years at this point since Overwatch 2 was first announced all the way back at BlizzCon 2019? We got Echo, we got a couple deathmatch maps, and some cool skins. But honestly, other than that, has there been much going on for the game? And maybe there's an alternate reality out there somewhere where this all played out much better, but honestly, I'm willing to take this new monetization model, this new free-to-play Battle Pass locked heroes, and presumably rather pricey new skins and other cosmetics, if it means Overwatch actually gets content again. I'd rather have new heroes that force you to either pay real money or grind through a Battle Pass in order to unlock, than for Overwatch to have no new heroes at all. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on that front, but honestly, Overwatch 1 hasn't had anything going for it lately. So even if Overwatch 2 isn't perfect or ideal, I'll take what I can get from it. It's a great game, I've had fun with it for 6+ years at this point. I'm ready for the re-release of the game as Overwatch 2, even if I don't love every individual thing Blizzard's gonna be doing with it. But these have just been my long, rambly, honest thoughts on Overwatch 2 based on the information we have about it thus far, and if nothing else, I am certainly excited to just see what it's like once we actually get the sequel. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things I love about it and plenty of things I hate, but overall, I am still very excited for it and think at this point, at the very least, it's the best direction for Blizzard to go, because the alternative is that Overwatch just gradually burns itself out over time, as most games do. So if they can reinvigorate the franchise and bring new players and life into it by making these changes, then I'm all for it. But that doesn't mean I won't continue to both praise and criticize Blizzard going forward based on individual decisions they make, and I would love to hear your own praises and criticisms in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Overwatch 2 at this point? Are you still hyped for the release of the sequel and all the new content that'll be coming with it? Or has Blizzard's business decisions and their handling of upcoming new heroes and the battle pass structure honestly just turned you off from it? Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.